Yo no entiendo por qué no quieren hacer daño.
¡Bajen las armas! ¡Bajen las armas! ¡Únanse! ¡Que se unan! 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 Venezuela lo necesita. Al pueblo, a los que lo detenieron, a los armados, al pueblo, a llevar a su país. Venezuela.
Mamá, mi hermano, yo no tengo la cara, denos, abramos paso, ayúdenos.
Nadie quiere violencia, nadie quiere violencia. Aquí hay ingleses, aquí hay viejitos de carro, viejitas, atacando,
Los vecinos siguen concentrándose en la avenida Páez de El Paraíso luego de que la Guardia Nacional, que está al fondo, los reprimiera cuando intentaban concentrarse en la Plaza Madariaga, uno de los puntos elegidos por la oposición para marchar este 23.
Alright, if you haven't already guessed, the first thing I want to talk about today is Venezuela and how Maduro is on his way out. Well, hopefully he doesn't kill a lot of people first. Anyways, first off, I just want to read you this article by Kassy Dillon at the Daily Wire that summarizes everything that's been going on in Venezuela really good. So I'm just going to read you a shortened version of that article. The link to that article will be in the description. Alright, 5 things you need to know about what's going on in Venezuela by Kassy Dillon. The president dictator of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, has helped drive the nation into a humanitarian and economic crisis that now features an inflation rate of over 1,000,000%, and citizens starving to the point of resorting to eating dogs, cats, and zoo animals. In May, Maduro was elected to his second 6-year term, an election that many say was illegitimate due to electoral fraud and boycotts by Maduro's opposition, as Time reports. Now, the leader of Venezuela's National Assembly, Juan Guaido, 35, has claimed he is the rightful leader of Venezuela. Guaido is a one-term lawmaker in an opposition party that controls the legislature, which is recognized by most countries despite Maduro stripping away the powers of the legislature in 2017. Guaido has condemned Maduro's actions as rigged and vowed to be the head of the state until new and fair elections can be held, citing a constitutional amendment that gives the authority to the head of the legislature to take control when there is a vacuum of power. Tens of thousands of anti-government demonstrators have taken to the streets in cities across the country to support Guaido. It will fall, this government will fall, protesters chanted, and the New York Times reports. According to CNN, at least 200 Venezuelans have died in violence related to the protest, including some who were shot to death by security forces or pro-government groups. On Wednesday, the United States formally recognized Guaido as the leader of Venezuela. The announcement came after Guaido deemed himself the head of state. The U.S. declared Maduro's election illegitimate while offering $20 million in humanitarian aid. Several other countries in the Western Hemisphere have recognized Guaido's claim, including Argentina, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Paraguay, Peru, Ecuador, and Guatemala. In response, Maduro ordered U.S. diplomats to leave the country within 72 hours. But the State Department initially refused, claiming Maduro did not have the authority to make the order. But amid safety concerns, non-emergency U.S. diplomatic staff were instructed to leave the country. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida has been a vocal opponent of Maduro's regime. On Friday warned, if something were to happen to Guaido, or God forbid, to our diplomats or members of the National Assembly, or the general public who peacefully protesting, there is going to be a swift and immediate and significant consequences. In the past, Rubio asserted that there was a very strong argument for military intervention in Venezuela, Bloomberg reports. On Friday, freshman Congressman Iman Omar, Democrat, criticized the Trump administration for supporting Maduro's opposition. We cannot handpick leaders for other countries on behalf of multinational corporate interests, Omar tweeted. The legislator cannot seize power from the president, and Venezuela's Supreme Court has declared their actions unconstitutional. All right, that was the article by Kassy Dillon. Okay, a couple things I want to say here. Should the United States intervene in the foreign affairs? And I think you have to measure that by its cost. I do think if they wanted to help by tariffs or, just by saying Maduro isn't the rightful president, I think that's good. I don't think we need to be sending military forces to Venezuela. We shouldn't do that unless Maduro actually has an act of aggression against the United States, like harming our diplomats. That would be a big one. But we definitely should do something. Maduro is bad and causing a serious humanitarian crisis, and of course he is. This is how socialism always ends up. Crazy inflation. At the beginning of the article, it said over 1,000,000%. Which isn't. That's how it always is. And this is insane because this breakdown of socialism is happening right now in a country not that far away from the United States. And Democrats are still pushing socialism. And it's not like some different type of socialism. It's literally the same thing as Chavez. Insane tax rates, nationalizing the oil industry. I don't understand why. And this is why I don't think the Democrats are going to win in 2020. Unless they run somebody that's middle of the road, which they're not. I mean, right now I'd say their best chance is Kamala Harris. Because she meets all the points. She's, black. Got to get that intersectional stuff in. She's socialist. She's as far left as you can get. Okay, she's not a communist. Probably. Not quite that far left, but she's just walking the line. She's no different than Bernie or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. No different than them. But that's who the Democrats keep pushing. All they have to do is run someone moderate. Now, I think they're... Joe Biden is pretty far left, but he's more moderate than Kamala Harris or Bernie Sanders is. So that's a plus. But they're not going to run him. There's no way. It'll be Kamala Harris. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. But this is all just insane. This is the perfect example of why socialism is a terrible, terrible idea. But we're going there. It's going to happen. I think Trump will win in 2020. But I guarantee you, he's not going to... There's no way he's going to win in 2024 unless something incredible happens. But who knows? But we're going to go socialist. I don't think there's any stopping it now. The Overton window just keeps moving left. If it doesn't happen in the next 4 years, it'll happen in the next 10. Don't worry. We'll get there. If that's what you want, I guess you're happy. But anyways, I'm kind of big into cryptocurrency. I'm not like an expert on it, but I am a big fan of it. I love the concept and the philosophy behind it. And if we were to push Bitcoin as a national currency and work as hard as we can to mainstream it, it would solve a lot of our problems with this hyperinflation. So most economists think that you want a little bit of inflation to encourage investing. Now, I kind of understand the concept of that because they don't want people just holding on to their money. But really, it's not worth it. The thing with Bitcoin is it's decentralized, and it's a deflationary currency. So with our dollar is always going to be worth less overall. It's always going to be worth less. With Bitcoin, it's always going to be worth more because there's only so many, and people lose Bitcoins. Pretty easy. You just forget your address number, and it's all gone. So you have to learn not to do that if you don't want to go broke. But I think we need to be pushing Bitcoin because that would make it impossible for governments to just print money to pay off their debts, which is what's going to happen. I'm sorry to say it. Anyways, let's go for dead babies round 2.
When Fairfax County Delegate Kathy Tran made her case for lifting restrictions on third trimester abortions, as well as other restrictions now in place. And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion, even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor. Do you support her measure and explain her answer?
Yeah, and I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I would tell you first thing I would say, this is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion.
What? The governor of Virginia advocating for killing a baby after it's been born just because it has some sort of disability? I mean, he's not saying you should do that. He's just saying that the mother should have a discussion with the doctors to see if maybe they should kill the baby. I mean, it's totally fine because they just passed a bill in New York where you can have abortion clear up till birth. So what's the difference? There isn't a difference. I mean, there's no reason I should be more mad about this than I am about before. Because they're both life, they're both babies. But yet I am, because it just highlights the hypocrisy on the left. This is what happened in Germany. That sounds radical, but it's really not. They quit valuing life, and we are not valuing life either. If America goes dark, we will make Hitler look like Gandhi. Now, what's coming next? Well, eugenics is going to make a strong comeback. It's already making a comeback. It's just, you don't call it by eugenics because that's associated with Nazis, and you can't do that. But yeah, eugenics is making a comeback. You don't believe me? Look up Down syndrome in Iceland. It's been cured. Amazing. Think modern science. No, not really. They just aborted every baby that had Down syndrome. Prenatal screening, curing Down syndrome. That's messed up. And what's coming next is what's already happening in the Netherlands and other European countries. Euthanasia and assisted suicide. That's what's coming next. Don't believe me? Well, you're an idiot because it's obvious. I'm scared. This is messed up. All right, here's a clip of this kid. He's a Special Olympian, and he has Down syndrome. And this is from a while back. He was speaking in front of Congress, and he was just telling them that his life is worth living. And I completely agree. People that are close to me that have Down syndrome, I've worked with them a lot. They're the best of us. And their life is worth living, and our society is better because of them. We cannot let our country go down this path. It will be, like I said, we'll make Hitler look like Gandhi. Think of all the power we have. Think of all... People get mad whenever I say the left is acting like the Nazis. But they shouldn't, because it's very similar. Okay, the left is very critical of Jews. But I get it, that's not the forefront. Just replace Jews with white men. And there's not much difference. I mean, if you just took Mein Kampf and replaced Jews with white men, the left would love it. I'm not saying the typical left. I'm talking about the far, far extreme left, which is almost all of them now. At least all of them that are running for president. I mean, Kamala Harris, she is a socialist. Bernie Sanders, socialist. It's become mainstream. And it's moving the Overton window so far left that the right will be Democrats. There will not be any conservatives. Now, I think this is a good chance for the Libertarian Party to make a comeback. Not really a comeback. So, like, traditional conservatives are what the Libertarian Party is now. Or they used to be what the Libertarian Party is now. So, I think there's a slight chance that could gain a following. And maybe I'm praying that America will think, I hate the government. I want to have my life. I want to screw who I want. And I just want to live my life. I think that's a possibility. But I don't think something bad is going to happen first. We're going to go socialist. No doubt. We're going to go socialist. We're going to have single payer health care. We're going to have death panels. Because when we as a collective have to decide who we are allowing to have our resources, it's a lot cheaper just to kill babies that have Down syndrome or other disabilities when they're babies. Doesn't hurt people's feelings as much. And it's cheaper. That's where we're going. I'm so excited. Well, anyways, here's a clip of the kid.
No one knows more about life with Down syndrome than I do. Whatever you learn today, please remember this. I am a man with Down syndrome, and my life is worth living. Some people say prenatal screens will identify Down syndrome in the womb, and those pregnancies will just be terminated. It's hard for me to sit here and say those words. I completely understand that the people pushing this particular final solution are saying that people like me should not exist. That view is deeply prejudiced by an outdated idea of life with Down syndrome. Seriously, I have a great life. I have lectured at universities, acted in an award-winning film and an Emmy-winning TV show, and spoken to thousands of young people about the value of inclusion in making America great. I have been to the White House twice, and I didn't have to jump the fence either time. Seriously, I don't feel I should have to justify my existence. But to those who question the value of people with Down syndrome, I would make 3 points. First, we are a medical gift to society, a blueprint for medical research into cancer, Alzheimer's, and immune system disorders. Second, we are an unusually powerful source of happiness. A Harvard-based study has discovered that people with Down syndrome, as well as their parents and siblings, are happier than society at large. Surely happiness is worth something. Finally, we are the canary in the eugenics coal mine. We are giving the world a chance to think about the ethics of choosing which humans get a chance at life. So we are helping to defeat cancer and Alzheimer's, and we make the world a happier place. Is there really no place for us in the world? On a deeply personal note, I cannot tell you how much it means to me that my extra chromosome might lead to the answer to Alzheimer's. It's likely that this thief will one day steal my memories, my very life, from me. This is very hard for me to say, but it has already begun to steal my mom from me. Please think about all those people you love, the way I love my mom. Help us make this difference. If not for me and my mom, then for you and the ones you love. Let's be America. Let's make our goal to be Alzheimer's free, not Down syndrome free. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter on This Matter 6, and like and subscribe for more.